Bonjour et bienvenue à la classe de français 2. Okay, hey, welcome back to French 2. Or there might be a couple freshmen. Welcome for the first time. This video is for parents of French 2 students. So we'll go over what to expect, kind of how I teach, grading policies, all kinds of things like that. We're going to start off with a classroom example. Alors, qui est Monsieur Keirns? Qui suis-je? Je suis de Littleton, Colorado. J'enseigne le français depuis 8 ans. J'aime jouer au tennis et faire de l'escalade. J'aime voyager aussi. Comme vous voyez dans cette image, je suis allé à l'université de Gonzaga dans l'État de Washington. Voilà. Maintenant, en anglais. So, who is Mr. Keirns? I'm from Littleton, Colorado. I've been teaching French for 8 years. I like to play tennis, to climb, and I coach both of those at Golden High School. I like to travel, went to Gonzaga. I have a master's in teaching and learning and my principal's license. And I like to teach because I enjoy it. I have fun. I like trying to have a positive impact on the lives of young people. And I am passionate about the French language and culture, so I like to share that as well. Here's our generic block schedule. Hopefully you understand that by now. For French 1, you are in first block. So I will see you either on a Tuesday or Wednesday of every week and every Friday. Next week, I'll see you Monday morning at 7:25 in a Zoom. Okay, how do I find said Zoom, you might ask? Well, log into Google Classroom. Here's your classroom code for French 2. I will also try to invite you, but there's the code right now. Parents, please sign up as parents for your children with an email so that I can send out email updates to you. If you're getting too many emails, don't log out, just change the settings or email me and I can change your settings potentially for you. All right. There are times when it's really important for us to send emails just to parents. So please do that. Then I will also use Remind again this year. You can download the Remind app on any phone. You can go to remind.com or you can text this code at goldfr2, at goldfr2. That's our code. You can text that phrase to the phone number 81010. Okay? All right, let's move on with the pointer now. What to expect? Again, Google Classroom. You can expect daily agendas to come again this year through the stream function. That's like the feed of a social media kind of thing. So expect daily agendas on there to be organized, and they will have the date and they will be posted by date in the morning, every morning that we have class. Okay. Then anything that's mentioned in there that you have to turn in, that you have to do, that will be in the classwork tab. So in classwork, you will only see the things you turn in, but in the stream, in the daily agenda, that's where you'll see resources, you'll see links to everything that you have to watch or do in order to go turn it in the classwork tab. All right. What to expect in a hybrid model. So this is new for all of us. I'm hoping that in person we will do a totally immersive environment in French 2. Will be just in French at all times whenever you're in person, okay? And then on the flipped day, on the day when the other half of you are in person but you are online, that's when you'll get to practice on your own with the structures we used in person. And that's when you might get like an English video of me. So I'm going to try not to do any like breakout grammar lessons in person. I'm going to try to do just 100% immersion. But then the video that you either watch before or after the in-person interactions, that will be kind of an in-depth explanation, if needed, of a grammatical concept or of specific vocabulary. Then when we are all online, which will usually be Fridays, we will meet as a whole class via Zoom. That's A and B groups combined at the assigned times. So whenever your class starts for period 1, that's you, 7:25, you're going to be at 7:25 on a Zoom call with me and your classmates most Friday mornings, okay? So there might be some where you work entirely asynchronously, but that's going to be rare. Most Fridays, we will get the opportunity to interact with our classmates who don't share the in-person class with us, an opportunity to ask any questions from the week, to assess your learning. But for the most part, it will be synchronous at 7:25 on Zoom. That might be overwhelming for students. I mean, it's early, it's earlier than we had to do last year, but we're trying to use the language to communicate. So we've got to communicate. We've got to learn how to actually use it to go back and forth. So that's why we're trying to do a lot of live practice. All right. So grading policies, the same as last year. If you had me last year, a student's grade is broken down into 2 categories: your overall proficiency and then the work that you do supporting that. Your supporting work means like quizzes, classwork, and your participation. And your overall proficiency, those are those proficiency assessments. So whether they're reading and listening, like interpretive, interpersonal, you're listening and speaking, or they're presentational, you're either speaking to me or writing. Final exam is also 15%. What is a proficiency-based classroom? I'm not going to play this right now, but I've already posted it on Google Classroom. So if you're someone that's new to this, you didn't watch this video last year when I played it at back to school night. If you're confused about like, well, how does an immersion or proficiency-based system differ from like a grammar and we call it like a drill and kill kind of focus, which is what most of us learned if we're older. That's what I learned, or how I learned in high school, excuse me. You can watch that video on Google Classroom, so go check that out. How do you succeed in this model? Most of you already know this, but be bold, speak up, take risks. Please put yourself out there. If you keep putting yourself out there, you're going to do okay. All right. Speak up. If you don't understand something, you've got to advocate for yourself, students. You've got to tell me, or make some kind of sign if we're in person, okay? Or email me later. I am here for you, and I really, really want all of you to do excellently in this class. But I don't know you need support if you don't tell me sometimes, okay? I can tell through, your grades and stuff how well you do on assessments, but I'm here for you. Like that's my job, and that's what I love doing is being here for students. So reach out. And then be compassionate with each other. I think this year it's going to be more important than ever to assume positive intent because we'll only be able to see half of our faces, like our eyes, and so we won't be able to see smiles. So assume positive intent and assume, that I'm here for you, and assume that I'm saying things out of the goodness of my heart, and I will do the same for you. And we will all make mistakes, and that's okay. Just roll with it. But not only is it okay, but I want you to make mistakes. I want students to make errors because that's how you learn a language, by playing with it and messing up a little bit and then learning and overcoming and growing and seeing if someone understands you when you do this. And if they do, great. And if they don't, then you have to tweak it a little, and that's fine. So you are not penalized for making those mistakes as long as you keep trying and keep making those mistakes, and then eventually they'll fall away. But if you try, you make a mistake and you give up, that's when you're not going to keep growing. All right. Be open as we learn about more cultures. I'm going to try and do a better job, as good of job as I can, to include various Francophone voices, not just French voices. And by that, I mean like cultures in our class. So please be open to that. It might be different from what your experience at your own home in Golden. And then try hard. Just, do your best. And I promise it's going to be okay if you keep trying hard. All right. I'll once again use Google Classroom, Remind, Flipgrid, Quizlet, Quizzes, Zoom, Pear Deck, Screencastify, Edpuzzle. Screencastify is what I'm using to record this video right now. And Google Classroom and Remind, we've already mentioned. Flipgrid, you'll get a chance to look at parents in a little bit. The others, they will come up in due time. Here's my contact info. Make sure you spell my last name right, Keirns, if you're trying to email me. It happens every year that someone tries to email me and they're like, I emailed you, but they mixed up the E and the I. So check your spelling on that. And then parents, I'm going to give you the opportunity, if you would like, to ask me questions or introduce yourself or say hey in a video format via Flipgrid. So if you want to see what your students did last year or are going to do this year on Flipgrid, you can go to flipgrid.com/FrenchParent, and you'll see a video of me on there. You can respond to that video, you can introduce yourself, and then once that goes live, you can even respond to each other. So it's the same one for all levels. So you might see people or parents that are in there that aren't parents of French 2 students, but give it a go if you want to see what it looks like. You want to have fun, you want to introduce yourself, anything like that. Yeah, and I'm excited to get this going. Welcome back. Et au revoir.